We have a team where it's like, oh, yep, they're now throwing their hat in the ring as well, and it very well could be Fire and Ice that reclaims their position of glory, if you will. But I'm excited to get this one underway. Like I said, Rise Nation as of recent has looked great, but as you called it, you can never sleep on a team like Fire and Ice. The way that they play and the aggression that they play with, there's always got to be something to be conscious of, and I'll tell you what, if that train conductor comes through and takes down anybody, it could definitely cause some problems.
Oh, we definitely love our newly founded train cam. The train, of course, having a phenomenal performance in past weeks. We'll see if the train can step up the game and give us another repeat performance. We are on board with Inzem. And a couple early kills. Again, such a big piece of this Rise Nation team. To me, this Rise Nation team sees their most success when Avexis and Inzem are on their game. To me, they're kind of the X factors for this team. Of course, you know, in a lot of sense, some might say it is Shock and Detox, which again is true. They, you know, if they have bad maps, it can be tough. But when you have those two players playing at a high level, it's just so hard to beat them, and you see the slaying power of this team. Fire and Ice can't even get off spawn. Rise Nation, a very, very quick 51-second round. What a way to kick off the series.
That is, and like we talked about, I know it's already super early, but Fire and Ice, this is their map choice. It's definitely not the way that you want to start off things, that's for sure. 0 eliminations through the first round as Crystallize pretty much just takes a look at the hill and just says it's probably not worth it. Probably not worth my time, and for good reason. Is Shock doing some fantastic work when it came down to F&I's home hill there over at C. But like we said, Rise Nation off to a hot start. We'll see what they can be up to yet again. And talk to me a little bit, Ryan, when it comes down to the patch. Obviously, I know we didn't get a chance to really discuss it a lot, but the Nasher change. Walk me through your thoughts on the patch, the details of how that could maybe affect this series and future ones to come as well.
Yeah, so there's kind of two, I think, to me, I identify kind of two major components. The first component is that they increase kind of what they call the poke damage or the poke distance, basically which kind of translates in the street terms. You can kind of play for damage more. You can kind of hit a little harder shots at that sort of medium range, which some players have been asking for. They feel like the damage drop-off is a little too much. On the other end, though, of the change, they did bring in they call it the give distance in technical terms. A lot of us call it the chunk distance.
Sure.
And they also lowered the damage at that very, very short range as well. So to me, the parts I like personally are the parts in terms of playing for damage, that medium range shots, right? Kind of, you know, using teamwork with the shotgun a little bit more. I like that part, but I'm very worried personally about just the effects of the change in chunk range and the change in the distance at close range because of the recent movement update. I do think, I truly think those two components, both the movement and the shotgun, do go hand in hand. So when you change one, it drastically changes the other. But part of that is seeing it play out. Part of that's putting my own hands on it. So I'm not going to, you know, lose my mind yet until I kind of put my own hands on it and see it play out. And that's why I was actually really excited that we got to cast tonight, was just for the fact that we get to watch some of the best players in the world do it. So I'm personally keeping an eye on things like those fights at very, very close quarters, right? Seeing how the shotgun kind of behaves when they are very, very close to each other, and kind of, again, how the sort of the movement and the distance closing with the speed boost kind of play hand in hand and everything.
Yeah, absolutely. Should be a lot of fun to watch, see exactly how these players adapt to things, as it's going to need there can definitely be a factor, as you called it out. Smoke is fresh and ready to go with Detox masked in it, trying to stay alive, has two players just in front of him, and I'll give him some props for staying alive as long as he did. However, keep in mind, toward the top side of your mini-map, there's player number 3 and 4 from Rise Nation. Drix and Avexis causing some problems in Fire and Ice's home base, as they're desperately going to need to get back there soon before their advantage can quickly be lost. Avexis getting caught off from the back, as it will be Fire and Ice reclaiming control of their own home hill. And thankfully, since player 0, a.k.a. Choche, was pushed up so far, he's pretty much allowed for Rise Nation to not instantly commit toward the bottom side and affect B the way that they would have liked to. So great sequences coming in here for the boys on Fire and Ice, as now they are pushing for the end result. However, Inzem sneaking through. Yeah,
very sneaky play. You saw Inzem only has those 2 respawns. Didn't want to necessarily try and challenge those 2 players. Instead, makes the play for the objective. Hops on B. Crystallize going to be there to challenge him, and Inzem wins the easy 1v1. That's going to give Rise Nation the B hill back. But there is a fight going down on the other end. It is the fight for C. A couple members of Rise being approached by both Exploits and Ravers, two definitely the main slayers for this Fire and Ice team. Looks like Rise Nation have currently taken control back of this fight. The double down comes through. The advantage will definitely favor the COG team. That's currently 2 members down for Fire and Ice. Rise Nation continuing to now hold the time lead as we head towards that 200-point mark.
In that very narrow sequence, if you're Fire and Ice and you're pushing up as far as you are toward Rise Nation's home hill, and they win a 1v1 on B, are you more likely to back up or more likely to want to push that through to make sure that you don't lose 2 hills in a row right there?
Yeah, it's one of the situations where the way they are positioned, if they run away, they very likely typically do get drilled on the way out. So you kind of got to, you know, at least try to win the fight that has a hill in front of you. Of course, your teammate already sort of lost the other hill. You want to kind of at least get the one piece of sort of real estate that is in front of you. Unfortunately, they did end up falling, and I see the kill feed. It's still starting to light up blue. Rise Nation need to hold on to that one hill. They're instead going to jump on A as well. Let's see what Fire and Ice can end up doing. They still have B. There's a little bit of work to be done. Rise Nation needs to hold on for about 15 more seconds. And I think Fire and Ice not even going to choose a spawn back in. They're going to give the round up. A lot of resources used during that round. And 3 minutes and 27 seconds later, it is Rise Nation winning both the long rounds and the short ones.
I said, in reference to that, you know, particular situation that we're referencing back, shout out to Avexi's, by the way, 15 eliminations through 2 rounds. Do you feel like that sequence from Fire and Ice when they're pushing at C is the difference that maybe allows for Rise Nation to grab the advantage toward the end, or do you think it is more of a necessary evil at that point?
I mean, I think Inzem's play kind of thwarted their whole plan, right? If Inzem doesn't make that play, everything changes, right? That OE becomes a little different. It becomes a little more feasible. You still have B to fall back on, but by Inzem getting in there, getting on the hill, and then winning the fight, that basically forces them into a fight. They have to push. It's obviously on Rise Nation's home hill, so Rise is coming off spawn as well, so they have players coming in for the pinch. So I think to me that play by Inzem was everything. A player that is very, very skilled, right? We know how just crazy skilled he is. He gets a lot of times compared to kind of the come-up powers, but what I've been hearing is that he's actually very, very vocal in the comms, and again, a very, very smart player as well. A lot of times we kind of expect these fast-paced Slayers to not necessarily be as smart, but he's, everything I'm hearing, a very, very smart player, and we're seeing it by plays like that.
Yeah, absolutely. Rise Nation thinking as the days go by of how smart that move in fact was, as Drix pushing his way through an opportunity for a pinch, and it will in fact work down in their favor. B-God falling by the wayside. As Fire and Ice just trying to stay alive, just trying to push up and at least be able to gain some map control, as they'll had pretty much already, due to that lookout point toward the top side of the map, instantly get past that 50-yard line, but for good reason due to the lack of man count advantage. They will begin to reference back, and looks as if that group starting to materialize toward the bottom side at B. A current 2 versus 3, but just as I say that, Drix, very prime spot, trying to make some work happen, as he'll watch his teammate drop, which will allow for the boys of Fire and Ice to instantly go for the decap onto A. In the meantime, though, Detox from Rise has in fact snuck over to Fire and Ice's home hill over at C. So lots of hills in limbo, and Fire and Ice in the meantime are gaining no points whatsoever. That quickly could start to change as they have the advantage over at B, and it looks as if in fact it will. Fire and Ice off of spawn grab C, and they also win the majority fight at B as well.
And a good opportunity to get back into this when it comes to that time lead. Rise Nation starting off with a bit of a lead. Vexi's a couple members in front of him. I think he only knows of one. He's definitely going to know of 2. Now there's actually a third. Crystallize comes on the flank, finishes off the kill. You're going to see Drix being dropped as well. Should have the revive. So Fire and Ice continuing to kind of gain control through this mid-round. You're going to see a push coming through over onto the C hill. Detox going to be swarmed by a couple players. Inzem is going to be there to join him. Detox tries his best to stay alive. Inzem starts to approach. A couple of these shots come through, but it looks like the kills are starting to favor Fire and Ice. Raver in your kill feed, Crystallize in your kill feed. A 5v3 situation now in favor of Fire and Ice. Shocky's being swarmed. The train's coming. All he has to do is kind of stay alive right now.
And a great time for this push to occur. As Train's up close. Shock, no big deal. Running next to death. A lovely sequence there. Living on the edge. Unfortunately, B got taken down. Shock up close, doing some great work, but Crystallize actually gets challenged back. I thought that Shock was still, or rather had gotten taken down, when in reality, he was more alive than we thought. Pressure over at C. Rise Nation instantly, they flip a switch. They find the engagements that matter, and they find their 3rd round in a row. What a kill that was there, Ryan.
Yeah, he basically pushed forward thinking, oh, man, this is kind of aggressive right now, but the train comes at the right time, so very good timing by Shock. That basically isolated the player right in front of him. He's able to hit just the nice back A. Of course, the train being there kind of isolates himself near the hill.
Yeah, I could have swore, I think just based off of his player model blocking Shock, I thought that he was down there, so I was like, okay, Shock take, all right, not taken down whatsoever. A lovely sequence coming in from Rise as they are just doing everything right. Obviously, clearly indicated by the score, but even in a moment where we thought that Fire and Ice maybe could make that 3rd round comeback. Unfortunately, it's all for naught. Back to the drawing board for FNI as they look to grab at least 1 round toward the end of the first half. Obviously, Ensigns are grabbed, and Enzem is out to play. If you are a fan of the LATAM scene, especially this particular roster, you're not all that happy now as Emergence comes through, takes down 2 with the Ensign. However, Raver is there for the trade. Detox not making him be all that happy for so long. Instantly coming on the engagement, and actually does have some teammate support off of his own spawn as well. Enzem's back for more. 2 young guns facing off. Enzem wins the second fight. Regardless, though, it is F&I with overall control, as it will be Enzem, who died last round, who's actually on 1 spawn left. He drops, and he is done for the rest of this half, and it's not going to help it all that much, especially when you're taking down your own teammate. Enzem drops his own squad mate and falls himself. A very unfortunate sequence from what we talked about is a very young, but yet knowledgeable player in Enzem. Unfortunately, loses all of his respawns and takes down a teammate. Never a sequence that you'd like to see, as Emergence as well enters into 0 respawn territory.
See Detox getting that cleanup. Enzem permanently taken out. So good opportunity for Fire and Ice now to get their first kill on the board. Unfortunately, Raver stuck with 0 respawns as well against the Detox. Getting in there. Getting aggressive. Misses 1 shot. Doesn't miss the second. At the same time, though, Emergence does fall in. So this is going to put Rise Nation at a permanent disadvantage. Have to make some big plays to get this one. Detox, he gets the mantle, but B-God is there for the reversal. Drake's the last remaining member on the field. Of course, Shock going to throw his last respawn in there as well, because we are in the last the last round of the half. After all those respawns out that you got, but things are looking good right now for Fire and Ice. 2 members left for Rise. It's going to be 1 kill, but will it be enough? Trying their best to at least force us to sort of an even playing field when it comes to respawns. Kills continue to come in. If they get exploits, this gets very, very interesting. That'll put 2 members of Fire and Ice permanently out of the game. So still some hope for Rise Nation. I do believe Exploits was getting chased down. Crystallize is going to drop. I saw Exploits getting chased. If he dies, that makes this round much more interesting. You're going to see Drix go for the approach. But Choche takes him out with the Insen. The King taking out one of his own men. Rise Nation sitting now at a 2 versus 3. Detox and Shock have to make the impossible happen. Shock ends up falling, so Fire and Ice will hold on. But Landon, that almost got very, very interesting.
Oh my goodness. That after that sequence, and considering what took place earlier in the round where Enzem literally dies on 0 respawns, he also takes down his own teammate in the process. Oh man, if you're Fire and Ice, that's one that you're like, okay guys, all right, we took the round, let's regain, because after a sequence like that, if they lose that round, this one's over. Let's just be totally frank. Down 4-0 at the half. Rise needs 1 more. Fire and Ice are losing in that way. Thankfully, they managed to bring it back. Drop shot sent toward middle. You like the decision there?
I mean, it's basically one of those things. You got to figure out something, right? You see Rise Nation definitely having a stranglehold on this map. Good first half by them. Let's see what they can do now in the second half. Again, the second half, definitely, I would say, our favorite fight in general. That kind of push and pull fight up top towards the neutral hill.
I'm starting to love the train one a little bit more. I don't know.
Well, I guess it kind of stole our hearts last time. I think we can all agree on that.
Can't disagree. Exploits. Grabbing Raver. Also, in the meantime, has to deal with some flames, but no big deal. Gets out with the drop shot. A Shock tossing out some utility. Why? Because the enemy has entered into his own home hill. B-God laughing away. The good old aggressor poking some fun at the opposition, but he'll go and back up and just allow for himself to stay up. Crystallize now handed the big boy, as now that ever-interesting fight exists toward the top. And if you're Rise, you got to be careful. There's the early drop. Does it land? It does not. Still 1 left in the chamber, but if you're Crystallize, this is a very valuable bullet. You cannot allow to have a misstep. 3 in front. They're going to try to challenge. They're going to try to go for the rush. Crystallize trying to provide some space. Has to pocket it, at least for now. Not an opportunity to go for it. All the Rise boys is trying to utilize all their funky movement to make sure they cannot be taken down. And it looks as if right now, Rise Nation, they're just rolling in the meantime.
Yeah, they're slaying out Crystallize. At some point or another, has to use that power weapon. His teammates are falling all around him. Looks like they're going to finally drop Enzem. Here's his chance, and he doesn't make it happen. And these are long spawn rounds, Landon. These are the ones where you can get those kind of kills. You can get that 1 catalyst kill, get those numbers, move forward. You can very, very easily finish in a trip cap. You see Drix over on E is getting hit by a few different members of Fire and Ice. Going to likely fall as well. Would like to see a little more efficiency coming out from Fire and Ice with that drop shot. You see Rise Nation in the meantime have built quite the lead. On this retake, Fire and Ice looking a little stronger. Numbers currently in their favor, 5v3, but on the flank, Exploits does not manage to get either of those kills. Shock going to push forward towards the players in pocket. I think he knows he's a little outmatched. I'd say him and Insem held that off for a decent amount of time, but in the end, Shock is forced back. So the neutral hill will, in fact, be back in Fire and Ice's hands. You see they still do have the win condition at the top of your screen. Swarm will win in just about 60 seconds. So we'll see where Rise Nation's retake will be, right? Will it be up at E? Will they take that fresh utility up there? Will they edge over towards the home hills? You're going to see Shock versus Crystallize.
Ooh.
A couple nice shots by Shock do win him that fight. Just in time, too. He had 1 bullet left in the chamber, so if there's ever a time to win that fight, it was then. He's getting more aggressive, moving a little more forward. But yeah, like you pointed out, the new drop shot is in Fire and Ice's hands. It's going to make it a little harder for Rise to hop on this neutral. But it looks like in the meantime, they're at least getting the kills. Let's see if they can get this hill now.
Support fire. There's the Ensign. Good work onto the King as Exploits, one of his loyal members, unfortunately can't stay alive for much longer. Crystallize, a lot of damage done. He'll be taken down. And it looks as if it will, in fact, be Rise Nation's round to close out, as they have looked phenomenal all game despite the round 4 loss. A situation where they nearly clutched up where they probably shouldn't have. Vexi's leading the way at 29 eliminations in total. The drop shots still remaining inside the middle. Do you feel like Fire and Ice, when it came down to that drop shot placement, have looked good with it? Have they shown signs where they can win rounds, or has it kind of been the same old story, Rise Nation just rolling over in your eyes?
I mean, they secured it a couple times, so it wasn't really the weapon's fault, right? It wasn't necessarily the placement. They got a hold of it a couple times.
Drop shot don't lie.
that mid-round, right? It's just Rise Nation, again, they continue to get the numbers, and on those short spawn rounds, a team like Rise, they move very quickly, right? So they get those numbers. They got a 5v4. They're looking to make that a 5v3. If they got a 4v2, they want that to be a 4v1. They're going to push forward, especially on the long spawn rounds. So despite getting the weapon, and again, even in the beginning, we talked about how they didn't put it to use. That's probably the most important thing. When you get that weapon, you got to at least put it to use. And yeah, speaking of putting things to use, not a great use of an inset as Exploits takes out his teammate for first blood. By coming in over cover. I'm curious how these play out in the new update, of course, with the distances changing and everything.
Sure.
Good revives coming through from Rise. Now they find themselves with the drop shot. They're going to have numbers as well. It should be right around 3 down for Fire and Ice. They had the neutral hill, but you got to imagine Rise is going to be on that momentarily.
Flash out of Vexi's yet to fire, but he has the Ensign ready to go. Choche in back-to-back rounds. The King falling in flames as a lovely shot coming through from the back lines of Rise Nation. Nearly affects Vexi's to a point of which he can't survive. Still gets taken down, but that drop shot, so lethal. As F and I are sent back to the spawn.
I think that was actually a little bit of a miscommunication there. You saw them shoot the drop shot, and then Vexi's flies right at the player. That drop shot very likely to kill him, and Vexi's ended up actually dying because of that. So I think that was a bit of a miscommunication by Rise. I'm sure they'd like that one back because they likely would have gotten that kill without Vexi's having to give his life. And now because they're kind of 1 player less, you see Fire and Ice is able to now push up towards E and now grab that neutral hill. See if they can take advantage of the miscommunication so far. That looks like Shock once again getting involved in the kill feed, getting that kill onto B-God. Was a 4v3 situation right now. It's favoring Rise Nation. Now sitting at a 3v2 now in Fire and Ice's favor. This fight can just end in waves over and over. Rise Nation are on the hill. They do currently have the lead. Let's see if their team fire can continue to get it done. Detox forced to back out. There's a meat shield in front of him, a couple players on the Swarm team, and very soon you're going to see that hill right back being red, right back into Fire and Ice's hands.
Detox trying to stay alive for as long as possible. A few good old buddies off of spawn. One of those being Drix, the other Shock. As Shock just runs right into the fray of the opposition. Not a care in the world, at least in terms of that moment. Is Drix on 0 respawns, Ryan? I mean, despite Rise Nation's success, obviously it's uncanny. They've looked fantastic, and it looks as if they're obviously going to lose this round just based off the way that it seems, as a few shots land, finally take them down. Are you surprised to see Rise Nation now and their 3rd opportunity where a player's on 0 respawns? Granted, in this situation, specifically, it didn't really apply, but in general, Rise, despite the 4-2 advantage, you like to think it's normally on the other side where our team struggles with respawns.
Yeah, it's one of those situations where when you have a lead, especially a lead like a 4-1, you can afford to kind of give up rounds earlier and kind of save your, we call it a respawn economy a lot, to kind of save your respawn economy for some of those later rounds, right? Save it for rounds where you have more of an advantage when using your respawns is a lot more impactful. So yeah, I definitely agree. I would like to see them maybe give up that round a little sooner, especially when they continue to kind of throw bodies at it over and over. But That being said, it's still plenty of map left.
Sure.
And again, we talk about kind of the silver lining sometimes of what losing a round means. Sometimes when you lose those quick rounds, you lose those 5 wipe rounds, it actually is a bit of a silver lining because you actually do sort of gain respawns back in the meantime, especially when you have a big lead like that. So a lot of map left still for Rise Nation. Again, it's not like they have a bunch of players on 0. They're still pretty good. They have, 1 player on 1. And on the other end, there's still a lot of players on 2 over Fire and Ice. So not time to hit the panic button just yet, but they do not want to continue to throw a lot of bodies at these losing rounds.
Definitely not. Crystallized, unfortunately, off of his corpse. Drops the drop shot and exploits as well. There for the pickup. He can't make it happen. A lot of eyes over at this power weapon. What? Vexi's shock. What in the world just happened right there? Just ran right into the flames.
It's that good old Summit 1G right there.
Oh, my good. Oh, wow.
Just danced right into it.
He did indeed. Shot grenades, utility, everything in the bag. Tossed out, crystallized now. We'll see if he can make good on his previous drop shot problems. As he's got the weapon of choice, and if you're Fire and Ice, there's no reason to engage. You've got the weapon that matters, and you've also got the objective as well. Drop shot's ready to go. Can he make it land? And he does. Takes down Enzem, the young gun in the back lines. We'll have to face the respawn screen again. Detox being chased all the way back to his home. In the meantime, it looks as if Rise Nation not having success here over at E, when in fact they're actually challenging for the overextension.
It looks like that side of the map is working much better than up over at E. You're going to see Rise Nation winning the fight for both home hills. Just during a time where things are looking dire, and that actually changes quite a bit because Drix does fall. It's going to take him permanently out, but Rise Nation, they're fighting for the trip cap. Fire and Ice, they do get back on F, but now things get interesting, right? You have Rise Nation sitting at a permanent 4v5. On the flip side, you got to imagine Raver's going to spawn back in. You kind of have to, right? You're down 4-2. So now you're going to have Raver and Exploits sitting on 0. Enzem, of course, back at 0 as well. So Rise Nation, of course, talking about the kills right now, but it's about the right kills, right? It's about getting those right players. You're looking for that Cantus, trying your best to keep this to a 4v4. That's a good start. A couple more members do fall. Now it's going to put B-God on his last life as well. So doing a pretty good job being a man down, I would say. Crystallized throws that flash shot, going to be there for the counter flash. Just going to push him back.
Push one on the flank. Vexi's. Oh, he gets taken down.
It's going to put him on 0 as well. Both teams, we talk about kind of the respawn economy for Rise right now. Both teams definitely looking very hurt, and there's still potentially plenty of map left. Crystallized going to dance around, of course, still has one of the respawns left, and he takes out Enzem. Now this becomes a 5v3 for Fire and Ice.
Raver's down, though. Raver's down. We'll see if anybody can get there for the pickup.
It looks like they are.
Wow.
So you got to imagine, Landon, this should be a Fire and Ice round. You got to imagine Detox will choose to save those spawns. You're going to see a Vexy saving his as well.
But how bad that hurts Rise Nation, though, all things considered? I mean, you're thinking about for the future, you've got, what, is it 3 players on 0? I mean, obviously Fire and Ice, they're in the same spot, but if you're Fire and Ice, hey, big deal, right? We're trying to make a comeback of which we were down. This is not a common situation where you're looking at a team that started off 4 rounds to 1, and they're a team in the later stages that are having problems with the life bank, with respawn economy. If you're Rise, my goodness, it's got to be somewhat frustrating to just not have the resources to allocate. But for Fire and Ice, they'll absolutely take it. Some disabling, at least when it comes down to this round. It looks as if the same will be applied on the other end. So not going to see any of those at least tossed out for this round, which if you're Choche, you're probably pretty happy about, considering the way that you've been getting lit up, as the kids like to say.
This is a big, big initial right now. Of course, Rise Nation still just need one more round to close this out. Fire and Ice. They continue to persevere, and on both ends, players getting down. Enzem is going to fall, and that's important because Enzem is one of the players with 1 out of 4 respawn. Now going to be forced onto his last life. As we move forward, Crystallize in a big fight. If Vexys is going to get the better end of that exploit, he's going to choose now to back up. He does have the power weapon, right? He has that important piece on the map, and Rise Nation knows that they're chasing him down. A couple big shotgun shots come through. A full spread ends up actually in a down. And numbers currently favoring Fire and Ice. Crystallize going to manage. Sorry, Exploit is going to manage to stay alive with that weapon. Fire and Ice still at full force. Meanwhile, a couple members down for Rise. Enzem now sitting on his last life. Things are starting to heat up. If you're Fire and Ice, this is what you like to see. They have the neutral hill. They have the power weapon. Everything you like, especially on a map like Asylum, right, where it's so easy to kind of use this lane to grab some of these kills.
Yeah. We've
seen Rise Nation make a number of good plays on the OE especially. Let's see what choice they make. It looks like their choice is going to be over at neutral. You're going to see the initial flashes come through, and here is the push. Detox getting very, very aggressive up by himself. Exploits puts that drop to use.
Takes down Choche, though.
Does take his teammate out as well. Kills going in back and forth. And Exploits does go for the final melee on the kill. It's going to kind of stun the character. Vexies does get the trade out. So as I look at the screen right now, I'm looking at the sides in particular. A couple members of Fire and Ice now sitting on their last life. A couple members of Rise Nation on their last life as well. Make that 3 over on the F&I side.
Yeah. Pretty much comes down to this fight. I mean, really, comes down to this fight. You lose a majority of your members and you're done. Rise Nation currently in the driver's seat, at least in terms of time left. However, that's about to change. No incense. How about a shock instead, as that will distance out the players from Rise. As Fire and Ice have to wait pretty much because of that shot grenade being tossed out. It does delay their progress. Raver totally caught off, as he'll be finished up. The Vexies maybe he's going to be here for the trade. However, looks as if Choche doing some good work up close. Ends up taking down Drix in the meantime, as players dying on all sides of the map. Choche as well takes down Detox. That's a big frag to find, as up close, here come the fights, and Fire and Ice are looking to be winning them as Rise fall. And now we are into a round number 9, a massive sequence, as Fire and Ice have won in what seems to be somewhat improbable of a situation. Is it a Vexies at 43 eliminations, by the way, in the meantime?
It is. It is. He's been going off, and man, Fire and Ice continuing to find ways to win these rounds.
Is it Fire and Ice that have brought this back, or do you think it's more of Rise Nation's just lack of judgment when it comes to lives?
I mean, the respawn economy has definitely been a hit. I think there's been 2 different rounds now where it's kind of come down to Fire and Ice being able to win because of the fact that Rise had 2 players permanently out. But I also now that we've seen it play out more, you got to look to that drop shot now. Since that drop shot has been put, of course, we did see, I believe Rise did win the first round after drop shot was placed. I think that was the 3-1 round.
Yeah.
But since then, I mean, Fire and Ice, they have definitely gotten the better of the power up, and I would say they've been securing it, I'd say, a little more often. And that seems to have been one of the kind of swings that we've seen now. Again, on a big, big round. Of course, this was Fire and Ice's map pick, too. So, again, if you're Fire and Ice, you really need to secure this map. You really want to win the one you chose. On the flip side, if you're Rise, a great opportunity to steal your opponent's map pick. So far, the kill feed is blue. Wow. Vexies, he gets the down, but he's going to fall as is his teammate. So 1 member down now for Fire and Ice. 2 different members down for Rise. Let's see if Inzem can use that incense to even the odds. He throws it right through the tree and gets a double kill. That's going to take out B-God, the drop shot, and Raver. And Inzem looking to follow it up with some more. Hits the nice composed shot on the Exploits. The new player, the young player for this Rise squad, opening up with a triple kill. If he hadn't get that kill landed, I don't even know if this round would progress.
Well, he had taken down a Vexies actually by accident and allowed for him to be taken down overall. So a massive comeback for Inzem as Drix hanging out inside a pocket. He'll be taken down. Keep in mind the drop shot is still available. A huge double for Inzem, as that will take down a good majority of the boys on Fire and Ice. Is now crystallized, is brought down to 0 respawns. That it will be 4 players total on FNI, 2 players total for Rise Nation. One more fight that you have left. If you're FNI, you drop more than 2 players, and this round is pretty much done, as they have to clutch up big time. And the big problem that exists is they have to go through this drop shot. However, the flash is out and the engagements are as well. Can he make it land? He actually does not. He doesn't hit the shot, and Choche comes through. The King making a big double kill, finds the 3rd, takes down a Vexies. What a sequence for Fire and Ice here toward the end. They're starting to charge on through. The King is leading troops that aren't behind him, however. Choche totally caught off guard as he'll be dropped. And that's a questionable play if you're Fire and Ice, saying, King, where you're going? I know you've got the momentum, but we've got the objective. We've got the thing that matters. Ryan, in that sequence, is that Choche diving out, or is it a lack of maybe teammate support there?
Yeah, you got to imagine some miscommunication, right? Choche gets the big triple kill. The King flies through. Then it somehow continues to keep flying. There was just no one behind him. That would have been a great opportunity for Fire and Ice to gain some map control, but as the round continues forward, that triple kill opened up an opportunity for this team to now move forward. Now you're going to see 2 different members of Rise Nation once again landing permanently out. Fire and Ice, they do have the lead. They are securing the 2-cap. Raver, he's permanently out. That's going to knock out Crystallize as well, Rise Nation. Now they're starting to answer back. Shock's been making plays all map. Can he do it again? There's 1. There's 2. Shock taking this team down now. From a man advantage to just Choche left on the map. basically we have a permanent 1v2 situation on an objective-based game mode. You got to just assume now this is going to be Rise Nation's map. What a play by Shock.
Oh, man. Shock goes huge toward the end, and if you're Choche, it's got to be somewhat frustrating. The King, can he make any magic happen? And he cannot. Shock, for good measure, helps give Rise Nation their first round after 3 straight losses. A massive comeback for Rise Nation to have, all things considered. As Ryan, it really was a matter of their dominant start, but their inconsistency when it came down to just, in general, having lives, right? Having the overall respawn economy definitely played a factor there. But I'll tell you what, man, that last round from beginning to end was nothing but excitement, really.
It was just, it seemed like it was triple kill after triple kill. Inzem, you saw in the highlights, opening up that round, huge for his team. Then Choche flies through the heavens, gets 3 kills of his own.
I think if he stays alive there and
doesn't
doesn't rush through, they had the objective.
They would have had a good setup, right? They would have had more man. They would have been able to kind of press up more, have a lot of firepower, and then Shock just putting the icing on the cake, timing that so well, too, getting that big double kill. Man, you thought Fire and Ice had it there.